Good evening, and welcome to Gabtown Divas, and welcome to the Air Nation Radio Network. I am your host, Travis, and I want to welcome all of you. New listeners, I want to thank you all for joining us, and listeners that have been here before, thank you for coming back. We appreciate all your support and love. Before we start the show, I want to introduce my guest co-host for the evening. She is a devoted Days fan, like I am. She is co-host to one of the newest, hottest online radio shows around, called Common Ground Radio, with a dish about the week in Days with a unique twist. I'm proud to introduce Misty to the show. Misty, finally you're co-hosting. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for allowing me to have this opportunity.
Oh, it's my pleasure, and I am so stoked, and I know you're stoked. So
yes.
Let's get to the show. I'm going to introduce our guest for the evening. Now, to why we're all here tonight. Tonight, folks, we have one of the hottest shows around with one of the newest names on Days of Our Lives. He has starred on shows like Beverly Hills 90210, CSI Miami, ER, and many others. He has several films under his belt, such as his newest film, Mid-Range, which we'll talk about later on in the show, and April Moon, amongst many others. He has currently been starring on also a huge fan favorite on a long-running soap opera called Days of Our Lives, which has been my favorite show for the past 20 years. And he is one of the newest bad boys in town named Vargas. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our guest for the evening, Mr. Sean Bezel. Sean, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
Not a problem at all. It's an honor for us, and we're just very excited. So how's everything going for you?
Everything's been good. Slowed down quite a bit, obviously, when you're going from filming, anywhere from 2 to 5 episodes in a week to, just then back kind of into the auditioning world. It slows down a little bit, but auditions have been picking up, and I've been up for a couple of shows, gotten pretty close to some things, and I've actually got a web series that I produce and star in called Mr. Deity, and that keeps us busy, and I have a little production company that we're also involved in trying to get our next feature film shot. So been hustling, staying busy.
Oh, that's so awesome. That's awesome. It sounds like you have a lot of work ahead, and I wanted to mention you to Deity, and I got tongue-tied for a second, so I was like, okay, before I lose my place, I'm just going to truck on, and we'll cover everything else later, but I had that right in my notes, so I apologize for that, Sean.
Oh, no problem.
So, as we've already introduced her to you, but I want to just bring her back on, reintroduce her to you. Misty is here as my co-host tonight. I know she has many questions for you, so I just want to bring Misty on to say hi.
Okay, sounds good.
Misty?
Hi. Yes, I do have some questions for you. I have some non-days related questions and some days related questions for you.
Good.
Yes. And I just have to say, during this past week, your dancing in Chad's new club was hilarious and hot at the same time.
You're talking about which particular
when you came in to Chad's new club and you were dancing and you popped by Abigail and you were dancing in the background. I just love that. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We had a good time shooting that day. It was a long couple of days, but it was a lot of fun.
Yes, it was great. I was like, oh, look at him get down. Okay.
Yeah.
You actually looked rather nice in that suit also. But anyway.
Sorry, say that again?
I said you looked awful nice in that suit as
thanks.
well.
Yeah. That was a little slightly different look for Vargas, right, in the suit?
Yes, definitely.
It
Yeah.
was a good look. Very good look. I think it worked well for you, and it showed your sophisticated stuff.
Yeah, Vargas can dress up too,
Yeah. You can get cleaned up nicely.
Yeah, a little bit. As long as I keep the facial scruff. I know some fans are like, well, you can't, one of the fans is so funny. She's always like, you guys got to get rid of that scruff. And I'm like, a character like Vargas, the only thing is if you get rid of the scruff, all of a sudden I could look like a cop or a detective. It's kind of the one thing that kind of makes you look like a bad boy,
Yes.
So luckily they let me keep that.
Scruff is good. Yeah. I like the scruff, definitely.
Thanks.
Travis, do you want me to start off with my questions, or did you want to ask questions first?
It's up to you. Go right ahead. That's fine.
Okay. Well, I did see that you were, like you said, you co-produced on Mr. Deity, and you also are acting in it. Do you prefer acting or producing?
Well, I'm a performer, so I really prefer the acting aspect of it. But the cool thing is when you're involved in a project and you're helping produce it, you get to get involved a lot creatively, which is nice. You know, you get to have say in the kind of the finished product, where you also get to kind of ad-lib, I guess you could say, or just play around in the moment and kind of bring your own stuff to it, and you don't have to just necessarily stick to what the writers have given you.
Mm-hmm.
So it works out pretty good. My partner is actually, he's the writer, director, and creator of the show, and he's written several scripts, one that we shot years ago, which is where we met, and this guy's super talented, very funny, but we just have a really good time. You know what I mean? We have a kind of a totally different stance on a lot of different things, religion-wise, and just a lot of topics. But it's kind of cool when you can be polar opposite on a stance with someone, and yet still be accepting of them and not judge them, and just be good friends and still have a relationship. So it works out great.
That's awesome. Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that you do a lot of TV series and shows, but would you prefer to do films, like big movie star roles, or do you prefer the series and the shows?
Well, I mean, I don't know. They both have their perks, I guess. Most of the movies that I've been involved with have been more of the indie nature, nothing like real big budget. Like the movie that we went out for $600,000, we made a really nice little film out in Chicago. We were out there for about 6 weeks, and this was about 3 years ago. And now the film is just finally completely finished, and we're trying to get it into theaters on a limited release. But that was a blast. I had an amazing time in Chicago. Beautiful city, and so that's really good. But, you know, at the same time, then you come back and like, all right, let's figure out what our next project is. Whereas if you're involved in a TV series, you know, whether it's Days of Our Lives or something else, you know that you've got work that you can plan on looking forward to in the coming months, and just really focus on that rather than being kind of spread out in a lot of different areas. So that 6 months, you know, the last 6 months filming on Days has just been amazing, you know, and working with such great people. You know, the whole cast is fantastic on that show.
And to talk about Days, because as you are, as we have been watching, I mean, you have been on for last week. I think it was what, twice, 3 times, 2 times. So that's pretty cool.
Last week I did. I think there was 2 episodes, 2 or 3 episodes. I'm not sure.
I mean, that's the most we've seen in a while. So it's been much needed.
Yeah. I had a pretty big break in between. I think so far I've done around 50 episodes. And now I'm just, honestly, right now I'm just kind of waiting to hear back what the next thing is going to be, if there is going to be anything else. There was some word that the feedback I got from casting was that kind of after I wrapped all my episodes was that the network loved me, producers loved me, writers loved me, and last she had heard the writers had been really brainstorming about how to get my character out of prison, what would be the best route, etc. So that was really good news, because at that point I didn't really know if I was going to be back for sure, because you never know if you go back into jail, it could be the end, or you know, you're just in holding. But at least it was good news to know that the ball's rolling and they were thinking about me and they really liked what I, you know, kind of brought to the character, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
I think you brought a lot of good things, and you know, it was a dynamic that Dave needed. You know, it was something different, totally different avenue than they've had before. Your relationship with Nick, I know on other shows, I'm sure you've talked about a lot of this, so I don't want to, you know, step into because I didn't listen to all your past interviews, but you know, your relationship with Nick.
Yeah, no, I only did one other phone interview, so you know, you can only cover so much. So pretty much sky's the limit today. Whatever you guys want to ask me, it's all good.
Awesome. Your dynamic with Nick, I think it was something that, you know, Dave hasn't had, and you know, being your history and your past, you know, kind of unraveled throughout, you know, the past few months, you know, between the two of you. So we've got to see the darker side of Vargas.
Right.
I want to congratulate you on the great success Vargas has given you and a huge fan base, did you expect so many great responses from the role like you have had?
No, I mean, it's been pretty amazing. I mean, wow, you Days fans are pretty unbelievable. Because the whole Twitter thing was new to me. I wasn't even on Twitter when I got Days, and my managers were. I had signed shortly after I signed with Days. I signed with a new management company, and they represent a lot of kind of bigger names, et cetera. And they were like, "Well, you're not even on Twitter." I'm like, "No." And they're like, "You have to be on Twitter." I'm like, "I do." They're like, "Yeah." And especially if you're going to do daytime, they're like, "You have to be on Twitter." So started all that, and I just love the kind of the instant connection that you can have with the fans, and gives them a way to appreciate and express, what they think about the job you're doing, and then of course it's a way to give instant thanks back for the appreciation. So I absolutely love it. I mean, I've been told by some people that, oh, you don't want to respond to too many fans too often, this and that. And I don't know. I think it's great. I do it every free chance I get because I think you guys appreciate that, and it's like, why not? I don't know. I'm not. They worry that, oh, some fans are going to get jealous if you don't respond to certain ones, and I'm like, well, you do as much as you can, and you leave it at that. So I absolutely love that whole process and the interaction.
Oh, most definitely. And I mean, we understand. Oh, sorry, Missy, go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to say that's one of the things that I really love about the actors is when they do at least acknowledge some of their fans, and you do it a lot. Like you respond to most of them, or you retweet at least, and you don't have to answer every one of them. But that's one thing that me as a fan, I just love that because I'm like, oh my gosh, I got a tweet from Sean Douglas, or I got a tweet from Allison Sweeney, or whoever.
Right.
I mean, it makes us excited to know that you all appreciate your fan base. So I do enjoy. I do enjoy that a lot.
It's important. It's important, and it's just crazy, I mean, it's just amazing how you don't. It's like if a show's popular, but I guess you don't really realize how popular until you start kind of connecting with the same fans. It's funny because you kind of start to feel like you have somewhat of a friendship, almost like a pen pal, because you're kind of getting to know these fans, and they're kind of getting to know you. So it's really cool. It's almost like it's like your circle of friends is expanding on a daily basis.
Yes. That is a great way to look at it.
Yeah, it is really okay. And even, for us that, the people that do these radio talk shows, it benefits us as well because, we have a chance to go on there and to, chat with you guys a little bit, try to get you guys to DM so we can, discuss what, having you guys on the show. And that's one of the ways that we can connect or get your info to connect with you via email or something. So, we do appreciate it. And having you guys on Twitter, just like Missy was saying, you guys taking the time to come on and chat with us on Twitter and, share your lives with us. And I think that's really huge. So, bravo to you. I mean, you guys are so busy. You have so much going on. That's really... Twitter's
a great thing. I mean, imagine years ago, the only way for fans to reach out to someone on a show would be to send them fan mail or to send something to the show, So there was a big disconnection for so many years. And so with Twitter, I mean, it's here we are. That's the reason I'm on the show today. If it wasn't for Twitter, I wouldn't be here. So it's all good.
Well, speaking of Days, because we were talking about Days, I wanted to also talk about this connection that you have with Hope. During the time that you guys are hoping on the island because of Vargas, and she found Nick and Gabby and Will, and the way that all came about, it was because of Vargas that she, came upon everything. And then we saw some connections between the two. Do you think in the future, if you were brought back, do you think there'd be a possibility the writers would go in the direction of a Hope and Vargas hookup? Because Vargas is a bad boy like Bo is.
Yeah, I hadn't, honestly, before I got on the show, I hadn't really, I'd seen it a little bit over the years, but had never really watched it a lot. So I didn't really know that Bo was even a bad boy. I had no idea what his character was like. I mean, I know that they were like, a couple for many, many years, but that's kind of all I knew. And then she did when we were, at one point she did say to me, it'll be interesting to see what direction they take our characters' relationship, just because, you know, my guy that was with me on the show for so many years is gone now, and she's like, I know that they're kind of looking for something, another relationship for her character or whatever. So we kind of try to play that up a little bit. You know, we definitely tried to find some little genuine moments in our scenes together, and she's such a doll, you know, she's so much fun to work with and even to rehearse with and stuff. Yeah, I am so completely open to that. I mean, I think that'd be a great way for Vargas to go, and, you know, whether it turned into something long-term with them or even just they explored it and then it didn't work out or whatever, I think it would be really interesting. It seems like there would be a lot they could do with that, as well as the Nicole character, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah,
Vargas,
I'm game.
Vargas and Hope or Vargas and Nicole. I think, you know, for a while I was thinking, you know, Vargas and Nicole. That was how it was going to be, and then we saw that, you know, that was kind of shot down. So I was like, okay, where are they going to go with this now? Because, you know, I think Vargas does need a love interest, and I think that it'd be good for him. So I'm curious to see.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm game. I mean, he could even have, you know, a few love interests. Why not?
Well, if he's a bad boy, it would be perfect.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Misty, what do you have to say for or ask for Vargas? For Sean, sorry.
That's hilarious. Well, one of them was going to be how he felt about a Hope Vargas romance, but he answered that. And then my other question was, would he prefer that the character was actually paired with Nicole over any of the other female characters? And you kind of answered that question as well. That was my only 2 days questions, was about Hope and Nicole. But,
yeah, I mean, honestly, both of those girls they're just fantastic women, and, you know, they're just a pleasure to work with, and they're both really committed to the work. So it's like, you know, when you show up, they're going to be prepared, and you guys, you know, you just do your work before, and you show up and see what happens. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the experience I've had basically with everyone on the show so far. I've worked on other shows where you show up and you kind of get the feeling that maybe certain actors aren't taking it very seriously, and, you know, and you can feel it in the scenes. But in this show, it really seems like people do their homework and they care and they're passionate about the job, and, you know, that's important.
Mhm. Yeah, you can definitely tell that Dave has a great acting cast. Like, everyone on the show is in one way or another like a huge part of it, and fans are just drawn to that show, and I think it has a lot to do with the acting of the characters. So
yeah, I've heard that there seems to be, I don't know, a lot of characters coming and going lately. I haven't been around in a few weeks, so I wasn't really aware of that, but it's something I think I read. Have you guys noticed that as fans it seems that way, or are you even aware of that?
Yes.
Aware of what? Say that one more time.
About the fans? I mean, about the characters on the show. Does it seem like, I've heard, like, there's maybe some characters leaving, and then they're trying to find new characters, and this is just stuff that I've kind of more seen on Twitter. So I guess you guys would be aware of that, but,
oh, yeah.
You know.
Oh,
yes. We talk about it all the time.
Oh, you guys?
There's a few of us that run Days of Our Lives pages who've all kind of interacted through that. So, like, Misty, I met Misty through my Days of Our Lives page. And then, so a whole bunch of fans, you know, connect through there, and then we connect through Twitter. So, you know, the cast, people leaving like you, I've heard about you, you're not coming back right now, so we're all very upset about that. You know, Chandler is going to be gone, so that's another huge upset for many fans. Casey Diedrich, Camilla, you know, Vanis. I mean, it's upsetting because these are people that, you know, we fall in love with, and we share a part of our lives with them. They, you know, we're part of the family. You know, I mean, like I was saying earlier, I've been a Dave's fan for 20 years. So when you watch, you know, these people, well, the younger cast I haven't really watched for 20 years because they haven't been on for 20 years, but you know what I mean? When you've watched a show for 20 years and you've been a part of these stories with you know, and you feel like you've been a part of them with them, and then people leave and come and go and they change, and it's just like, it gets, tiresome sometimes, but, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure sometimes it's certain actors too just want to kind of go and spread their wings and try something else, maybe because they've been on the show a long time. So I mean, I guess it's a combination of that and then them just wanting to, I don't know, maybe try out different actors. I don't know, but
right. What do you think, Sean? Let me ask you. What do you think? Like,
sure.
you've heard of some of the actors leaving and everything. I mean, Eileen Davidson, and the newest one, Chandler Massey. What do you think of how they handled the Chandler Massey exit?
How they handled which one?
Chandler, Will, leaving.
Oh, I mean, I don't really know a lot about that. I actually ran into Chandler a few weeks ago at the driving range. I was hitting golf balls, and he comes walking up, and he's like, "Dude, what are you doing?" And I hadn't seen him in a while, and he's like, we must just be shooting on different days. And I'm like, well, I actually haven't shot in a couple of months. And he was like, oh, okay. Because, a lot of times you won't see characters. If you're not shooting on the same days, you don't see characters, the other characters for a while. And I was like, well, not at the time ago. The last stuff I shot, I went back to jail, so I'm kind of waiting to hear what happened. And he said that, he's like, yeah, I don't know if you heard. He's like, but I'm leaving the show. I don't know if he said like December or January, something like that. And I was like, no, actually, I didn't hear. But he had definitely mentioned something about he wanted to go back to school, and I think he said something about getting his degree. And that was all kind of on hold since he's been on the show. So I know that was a big part of the reason why he did. So I don't even know that it was Days of Our Lives' choice. I think they wanted to keep him, but I think he just wants to go back to school. But I could be wrong. That's just what he said that day.
Well, what we've been reading, because, of course, the fans get pretty much into all this stuff, because we're doing our games. Basically, he wanted to go back to school, and Dave said that's fine, and basically made this agreement that when they found a recast, then he'd be let go. And they ended up finding a recast, so he's out of his contract early because of that recast. They just found
they already found a recast.
Yeah, they just haven't publicized it yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So wait, you're saying they already did recast him?
Yeah, they already have someone they're going to recast him with, but they just haven't told us who it is. They just said that.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, hopefully he's got big shoes to fill.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I said.
No pressure. I kind of feel sorry for whoever that guy is because, his character is loved by a lot of fans, and he's a terrific young actor. So I just wish him the best. I hope, he gets his degree and does whatever he wants to do in life. And, who knows, maybe he'll end up back on Days at some point. But, yeah, man, that actor's definitely got his – that to me as an actor seems like – and I've never had to do that. That seems like that would be one of the most challenging things, is to step in and try to replace a popular character on a show,
Mm-hmm.
So,
and especially with the dynamic that his role had. I mean, Chandler had to come on this show and tell the story of a kid coming out and coming to terms with himself, and then coming out, and then coming into this relationship with Freddie Smith as Sonny. I mean, he just did it beautifully. Both of the guys have done it amazingly to be both, straight men that have been playing this role. I've been out for 10 years, and, you have to commend them, because when you watch something like this, for me, it's like watching my story behind, in front of my eyes. And there's so many people that have struggled with their sexuality. This story has been a saving grace for them. I've had friends that I met online that, have shared stories of that, themselves coming out. So it's just really beautiful. It's a really beautiful thing. And
that's great. Well, I do know that when Days does testing, they're pretty thorough about it, and I'm sure that what they did is they probably narrowed it down to, like, say they're 5 or 10 guys. They probably screen tested them in the actual scenes with the Sonny, the Sonny character. I've actually never even worked with him, but I've seen him many times. The Sonny character, is it his character's name? Yeah, it's his character's name, right?
Yeah,
Sonny.
Freddie Smith. Yeah.
Yeah. So what they did is they probably screen tested him with all the guys, so they could really, it's called a chemistry test, and they test their chemistry. Because I actually did the same thing with Allison Sweeney years ago when that role went to Galen Gearing for the role of Rafe. Yeah, that's actually how I originally got on Days of Our Lives radar. They brought me in and they screen tested me and a bunch of guys for that role, and it actually came down to Galen and I. It was between him and I, and it took the studio like a few weeks decide, but he had it was hard to compete with Galen because he had a huge fan following from Passions. And he, he was a soap star for like many, many years. So at least when I found out that they offered the role to him, I was like, well, okay, if I had to lose it to anybody, at least I lost it to like an already really big established soap star, But then they remembered me, a few years later and brought me back for this, and it was a straight offer. I didn't even have to audition, so it was pretty awesome.
That is so cool. I didn't know that you had auditioned for that role. But yeah, Passions is another soap that I watch all the time. I don't know why I happen to stick to the NBC soaps. I have no idea, but I've always watched the ones that's on that channel. So like Santa Barbara, Another World, Sunset Beach, all those. But Days has always been my favorite. I've always watched that. So.
Is that right? Yeah, the fans, they really stick with Days. Everyone that I meet that watches Days, I'm always blown away. It always seems like it's like 15 years or more that they've been watching the show,
Mhm.
It's pretty incredible.
Oh, yeah. Big time. Sean, if you don't mind, I have a fan question. This person actually doesn't have access to being able to call in. Just their phone plan doesn't allow them to. So he's in the chat room. His name is Aries. And he wanted to know, what do you think about Vargas' relationship with Nick? Does Vargas look at him like a brother or a friend that have prison in common?
How does Vargas look at the Nick character relationship-wise?
Right. Like a brother or a friend or.
I think it kind of evolved. I think initially when I came, because I didn't get a lot of backstory. I didn't get a whole lot of backstory, unfortunately. Kind of what you guys know is what I know, so I basically created my own backstory. But it kind of evolved, because I think originally I felt like I was just coming after him to collect on his debt. But the relationship kind of kept evolving, and then I finally got to a point where I kind of felt like, towards the end or the latter part, I kind of got to the point where I felt like I cared about his character. Vargas cared about the Nick character and saw shades of himself, maybe, that he saw this kid make a lot of wrong choices, and he's got a lot of opportunity, and so I kind of felt like as the relationship evolved, it was more like, I guess more like once I kind of got past, the money that he owed me, then it was more like just trying to give him good advice and trying to keep him off the path that my character ended up, going down, and so I guess it was kind of friends or big brother, tough love kind of a thing.
Right, and the reason I like your answer. The reason I think that question came about and what Aries was saying was because in jail or after jail, like when you guys were out and Jensen was around, you were very, kind of protective of him with Jensen, like in jail and out.
Right.
And, it helped Nick with Jensen when he, so I just think that was a big thing.
Right.
You kind of having that, like, protective side with Nick through a lot of those things, even though, you kind of were trying to blackmail him with things, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of curious at a point, because one of the latter scenes that we had talked about doing another, he came to me, I guess it was, and talked about doing a deal, like a bigger thing, and so I kind of was like, oh, this could be really interesting. I want to see where we're going to go with this. And then that didn't end up panning out. I mean, originally I was only hired to do, it was a minimum of 20 episodes, and then it was kind of open-ended after that. I think originally the Vargas character was meant to be killed off at a certain point, but I was told by, casting that once they hired me for the job, that they wanted to keep it more open-ended, and because they didn't know where it wanted to go, with the character in case it ended up doing something more long-term. So it was great. I ended up doing a lot more episodes than I anticipated, and now the door's open. I think there's a million different things they can do with the Vargas character. I mean, really, it's unlimited. I mean, because he's not related to anyone in the city. He could come back and be plugged into God, with any of them, with AJ on the dark side, or you could be an informant for Salem PD. I mean, and be involved with Hope. I mean, the Nicole thing. You know, I mean, the triangle with her and Eric. I mean, there's really unlimited possibilities for the character, which is pretty cool.
Oh, big time, big time. And I have so many questions about that, but I could talk all night. Sandy, before we take fan calls, do you have? So sure I could. Do you have any questions, comments, for Sean? And then we'll go to the fan calls. Misty, sorry, did I call you Sandy?
Sorry, I cut out at the beginning, and I wasn't sure if you were talking to me. I did have one more question.
Sure.
When did you realize that you wanted to be an actor, and who actually inspired you?
That's a good question. You know, I've always been kind of a bit of a ham my whole life growing up. But then when I was really young, I was really interested. I was just kind of curious about it and always liked being a little bit of a ham and singing, and I was always kind of the class clown. But then as I got a little older and I really got into sports, I was into football and basketball, and that kind of consumed my life. You know, I was just really an athlete. And then, you know, you get through high school and you do a little bit of college and you realize you're probably not big enough to be a pro football player. One of my half-brothers actually played in the NFL for a few seasons, and he's a big guy. He's like 6'5", 250, and I didn't have his size, you know what I mean? So you kind of start realizing that maybe your aspirations to be a pro athlete aren't going to happen, and you just start, you know, thinking about the other things you want to do. And then I took a class at junior college up at San Jose City College. I just took like kind of an introduction to acting class, and forget about it. I mean, I had this really passionate teacher, and she was amazing. She just was great. She had all of us kids, you know, just totally into the acting. I started off in one class and ended up just taking like every single class they had. I went in not even knowing really what I wanted to do in college, and once I took this class with her, I ended up dropping all my business classes, all my prerequisite classes, and I was like in intro to acting, drama 1, drama 2, theater. I mean, I took everything that they had there and absorbed everything I could, and then I knew I had to either move to L.A. or New York, and I'm definitely more of a West Coast guy just because I love the weather out here. You know, I had to escape the bad weather from Texas, where I grew up, and I wasn't going to go back to more bad weather, so I came to L.A., and, you know, it was many years ago, and just been, you know, on this love-hate relationship with the craft of acting, and it's been a heck of a ride.
That's great. I always wonder what makes someone realize or whatever that they wanted to get into acting, because acting is not easy.
Oh, no.
So you have to have that talent, and so I think that it's awesome. That's great. So your teacher then really inspired you to really get into the acting.
she really did. You know, and then it is like anyone else. I mean, I guess every time you would go and see a great performance in a movie, and you're just riveted by what these actors are able to do, and believing in their character, you believing in their character, and them believing in their own character and living out that life. It just is always put me in awe of them, and I was always like, I want to do that someday. I'm gonna at least try and challenge myself. And you never realize how in depth it's going to go, but it's kind of a lifelong process, you know.
Yes. Okay, thank you for that. That was good.
Yeah, thank you for that for sure. Oh, okay. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that for sure. I know that I've been living, you know, in the East Coast all my life, so I'm hoping someday I can get out to the West Coast and experience that kind of life, you know. So I'm glad that you were able to get out and, you know, see what's out there and look at what happened to you. So, you know, anything's possible for anyone. You know,
that's true.
Something that I always hold hope for. So.
Absolutely.
So it's time for the fan calls, and we discussed till 8, so about an hour we discussed the show, right?
Sure.
So another 25 minutes, and then we'll wrap it up in about 20 minutes. So I'm going to go take some fan calls. Are you all set?
Right.
You ready for that?
Sounds great, yeah.
All right, thanks, Sean. And the first fan coming on is Robin from Florida. And just so you know, Robin, she runs her own Days of Our Lives page. It's like stands for the hourglass. So she's been running that as well, so we kind of communicated through there. And she's been running for a long time, and she's going to come chat with you. She's a huge game fan.
Awesome. All right, sounds great. It's a good one to start with.
Right?
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm great. I am warming my buns. Hamburger buns, sorry.
That's all right.
Great.
What part of the country are you calling from?
We're in Pensacola, Florida. My husband serves with the Navy's Blue Angels.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Yeah, he flies? He flies those?
No, he is actually with airframes. He keeps the planes in the air.
Oh, wow. Well, that's probably even more important than the guys flying them then.
Of course it is.
You know?
Anybody can fly a plane.
Right. Actually, I'm kind of afraid of flying, so I don't know if I could fly a plane, but, yeah, hats off to the guys that do, guys and girls.
It's a pretty cool gig. It really is.
Yeah.
We waited a long time for this, and this is our first year with the Blue Angels, and we've got a couple of more, and hopefully 3 more. Since they got grounded this year, they'll extend us another, so we shall see.
Right? Excellent. Well, good luck with that. That's great.
Thank you. But anyway, first of all, learned a couple of things I did not know. You did 90210, original or the new series that got canceled?
No, it was that was when I first came to LA and got into acting. It was one of my first gigs I ever did. So it was the original a long time ago.
Oh my God.
And it was an episode that Ian Ziering, is that his name?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was one of, I know he directed some episodes, and I believe that might have been his first episode. And I had a small part. I played a waiter, and had to collect on a bill from one of the stars of the show who had been partying. They were at the club partying all night, and I literally only had a few lines, but I just remember it was like the biggest deal. Yeah, it was like an under 5, and I just remember thinking it was like the biggest deal, though, because back then, 90210 was like the biggest show on TV, and I remember calling back home and telling all my family, and they just thought they thought like a big star all of a sudden or something. It was hilarious.
You do 90210, and it just blows up after that.
Yeah. So, like, he made it. He's only been there like 6 months. I was like, guys, it's like one day's work, okay? I'm like, it's a great show, but I have not made it yet, okay? I'll keep you posted.
I was sitting here thinking, I was sitting here listening. I'm thinking, I was a huge 90210 fan. Did not miss an episode. Kind of gives away my age. But I absolutely love 90210, and I'm like, okay, how did I miss him?
Unfortunately, it was a pretty minor character, but it was big in the moment for me, you know.
I'm sure I was studying my boyfriend.
What was that?
You what, Misty?
I said that was the exact same thing that I was thinking. How did I miss him on 90210? Because that's another show that I watched all the time.
Yes, and Vargas in a suit. Who would have thought?
Yeah, big change. Big change.
Okay, my question is, would you make Days a pretty permanent gig? Because like you said, Vargas's character, they could do a million things with him. Obviously, Peter Reckel's not coming back.
Yeah. From what I've heard, I don't think he's coming back.
I don't think he's coming back either.
But I mean, people could change their mind. But as far as Christian Alfonso said she didn't think he wanted to come back, so I guess she would know.
And his wife has tweeted and she has Facebooked saying that she didn't think, or she knew that her husband would not be returning to Days. So could we have a Hope and Vargas hookup?
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, once again, she's a fantastic lady, and I wish I could have gotten to work with her more while I was on the show. I mean, we worked together a fair amount, but it always kind of felt like they were just scratching the surface with us.
Yes.
It kind of felt like they were hinting at a possible romance or something deeper than, and it just kind of, it was always just right there at the surface and never really kind of went there. I think when we had our last scenes last week, but I was, at the same time, I was getting into trouble, and it was kind of a tough thing because she's sending me back to jail, and you can tell she probably didn't want to, but she also didn't really have a choice. So I think that'd be great. I would be totally open to that, and just love working with the lady. So, you know.
Well, I'm sure you would. She's hot.
Yeah. Oh my God, she like doesn't age. It's unbelievable. I know she's been on the show for many years, and you know the little I've seen of the show over the previous years, I'm like, this woman just doesn't age. It's amazing. I don't know what her secret is, but she needs to give it out.
I remember staying home from school. I begged my mother, please can I stay home? My mother would always record. You remember VCRs. We had beta. I think we had beta. And Mom would always record Days of Our Lives, and I could watch it after I did my homework. But Bo and Hope's first wedding, I begged, please, Mom, let me stay home. And she let me stay home. And
oh, my
I've
God,
been a fan.
That's so funny. Yeah.
That's how far back it goes. I don't even know what year that was. I know I was still in elementary school, and I'm knocking on 40's door. So it's been a while.
Wow, that's impressive.
And I haven't missed much since then. And thank God for internet, because now when I'm busy and miss it, I can watch it on the internet.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah, between TiVo and the internet, you're never going to miss anything now.
No, and I'm absolutely impressed with your character. Absolutely impressed with all of your scenes, with Nick, with Hope, with everybody. And you are doing a lot of scenes with a lot of big hitters, and that's what's so impressive. And that's why I'm hoping for a permanent Vargas.
Well, from your mouth to God's ears, because I would be flattered to be on that type of a show. And, you know, it's kind of ironic. You know, I went to the Emmys, which was really nice of them, because I hadn't actually filmed in a while, and my character had already gone back to jail. So when they invited me to the Emmys, I was like, oh, that's really nice of them. That was kind of unexpected. Had an amazing time, and for me to go to not only my first daytime Emmys, but to also get up on stage with the entire cast, and win, you know, best daytime drama. I think it was like the first time they'd won it in like 38 years. I was like, wow, that was really special. Yeah, that was huge.
That's huge.
So, you know, it'd be a great show to be a long-term member of, you know.
Oh, my God. I don't know if you can hear that. I apologize. I've got a Doberman going nuts in the next room.
Oh, dude. I just hope my dogs don't hear him, because then they might start barking. I got a couple of big dogs, too, and I'm really happy because they're being real quiet right now.
I've got this. My Doberman's almost a year old. But another underfiver on the show, she has not been on the show in quite some time, if you could pull a string, which I know you probably can't. Mary Garapoli, she played Mary, the DeMira Mansion maid. She's been gone for about 2 years.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine would love to see her back on the show. Maybe you and her could hook up. I don't know.
Oh, yeah? Was she on the show for a while?
Yes. I think Mary she's an underfiver. She started in like 2008, and I miss Mary. And I know there's a lot of fans. We notice the underfivers. We notice when that one character that's hardly ever there, we notice when they're gone.
Right.
And I don't know if Dave's producers know that.
Yeah, well, hopefully, I don't even know if they hear shows like this, but hopefully it'll get through the grapevine. I'm sure you guys did your, I know how awesome you guys are with tweeting, so I'm sure you guys did your fair share of tweeting about Mary.
Oh my God, I don't tweet. I don't tweet.
You don't tweet?
I think I'm the only person in the whole world.
I've only been doing it 6 months now, so I was right there with you.
I have 2 teenage daughters that tweet, and I have a 6-year-old daughter that asked me if she could have a Twitter account. So.
Oh, my God. My 13-year-old daughter set up my account, so I understand.
I do good to Facebook.
Yeah.
That's
Facebook
socializing for me.
Yeah, Facebook is a little trickier for me. I don't know why. I seem like it's just so complicated. Every time I want to do something on Facebook, I don't know why. I guess because I don't do it very often, it takes me forever. Twitter is just so easy. It's like you go on, you say hi, you go through your stuff, and then it's just so easy. The whole thing seems a lot easier to me.
I've never even tried it. Maybe I will try it.
There you go. Now you have some incentive.
And if I do, my first tweet will be Sean Douglas sent me.
There you go, and I'll be looking for you.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me. Thank you for being a guest on my friend Travis's show. I know he was just over the moon. So was I. Was sitting here just going nuts.
Is that right? Hey, thank you so much for being a fan of Vargas and obviously a huge fan of Days of Our Lives. And,
huge fan.
You know, I really hope someday I can, get recommitted to the show and get up there and work for you guys and give it my best.
You'll do it. You'll do it. And, hey, if you're in Pensacola, come by the Navy Blue Hangar. I'll give you a tour myself.
That'd be phenomenal. I'll hold you to it.
Please do. Please do.
All right.
All right. Y'all have a great night. Thank you, Travis. Thank you, Miss G. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
Welcome.
Love you.
Call you in. All right. Awesome. Well, that was very sweet. Thanks for Robin to call in. And I think she was talking, Missy, was she talking about Maid Mary?
Mary, yeah, the maid, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought she was talking about. I was like, that would be it.
I'm pretty sure Mary was Stefano's maid, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I would never think of that connection, but that would be an interesting connection. Mary needs some loving, So I think Vargas would be perfect for that. Vargas would into the Mira household and the aim, and that'd be
the maid needs loving too,
Hello.
They don't wear those outfits for nothing. Just kidding.
Right?
I said they don't wear those maid outfits for nothing.
A few of us had talked about Henderson, which is Victor's butler, and Mary. Like they're kind of in cahoots. So we had made this joke for a while now that Victor and Mary are kind of seeing each other. But hey, Mary could have cheated on Henderson and is now with you. So all right, so we have another caller. We have Maria, and I think this is Dave's Bitch on Twitter. So if it is, Maria, you're on the line. If it's not, Maria's still on the line. So come on down.
Yes, this is Maria, Dave's Bitch.
Hi, Maria.
Hi. Travis, this is hard for me calling, right?
Yes.
Because
I know.
Okay. Hi, Sean.
Hi, how you doing, Maria?
I just want to say that I loved your character.
Did you really?
I was really kind of pissed that they took you off for a little while, and I'm really happy maybe that you'll be coming back.
Yeah, and it's a possibility,
Yeah, and I really wish they really hook you up with Hope.
Yeah.
Because both
cool.
of you really had chemistry.
Yeah, I felt like it. I felt like they just barely, like I said, I felt like they just barely scratched the surface.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think there was a lot of potential there, I think it could have I think it could have been some great stuff.
Yeah. I really liked when you worked together. It was really good.
Yeah.
But I was yelling at the TV when I found out that you were gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've been yelling at the TV quite often, watching Days for the last couple of weeks, but I was really sad, and I hope you come back.
Thank you so much. Where's your accent from?
New York.
Okay, cool. That's what I figured.
Yeah, New York. My husband is he takes me to all these events, but he don't know anything about Days. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm blessed to be married to a husband that takes me all over. He took me to Atlanta for Days events and Boston, and then.
Wow, is that right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't even watch the show?
No.
Man, that's love right there.
Well, he's never home. He's a NYPD detective.
Oh, okay.
So he's doing a lot, always doing overtime. But
oh yeah, he's a busy guy. I can imagine.
He's busy, yeah. So, but when he does sit down and I have it on, he always asks, "Who's this? Who's that?" Yeah. He knows Dr. Dan.
Yeah.
He knows Dr. Dan.
And Sean Christian. I love Sean Christian. He's a great guy.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his too.
Yeah, he's
That's
a
why
really
I've been yelling
good
at the TV lately because of what's going on with Jennifer and stuff.
Oh yeah. That's funny.
But he takes me. He's taking me to Tennessee for one of Sean's events in October. So, but he enjoys it. Yeah, he enjoys the events because it's get away from his job.
Yeah,
with all the tension. So he just likes being with people.
Well, not only that, he's a smart guy. You know, you keep the wife happy, and you keep your life happy. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Well, I let him go skiing. I don't ski.
Oh, okay.
Skis, so
yeah.
he went to California to go skiing 1 year.
Oh,
so.
okay. Yeah, nice.
So it's
All
50-50.
There you go. That's the way it should be.
But anyway, it's an honor speaking to you, and I hope you come back on Days.
Thank you. You're such a sweetheart. I really appreciate that. And, yeah, I remember seeing your tweets. Because, I mean, your handle is kind of hard to forget. It kind of stands out.
And you know who named me? My son.
No way, really?
Yeah. Because I'm really strict with schoolwork. So in his mind, I am a bitch. So he, like, your daughter set up the Twitter account.
Yeah.
My 15-year-old son set me up.
You set up your
Twitter account. So I go, what name do you want? What name do you want to call me? And he goes, Days, bitch.
Oh, wow. That's
so
hilarious.
I said, okay. So that's why I got the name like that.
Right on. Well, you can't miss that one, let me tell you.
I know. People laugh about it.
Yeah.
You
great.
know?
Well, now every time I see it now, I love the fact that I'm going to know how that name came about.
Yeah, my son Anthony, the devil. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you for speaking with me.
Oh, it was my pleasure. You have a great week. Okay.
You too. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, Maria.
Thanks for calling in, Maria.
Bye.
Oh, I'm so glad you called in because she was like, she had told me via Twitter, she's like, I don't think I'm going to call in. I'm like, Maria, you have to call in. You need to call in and talk strong.
Yeah. Oh, that was hilarious. She's awesome. I love that story.
She is very awesome. Sean, we have 8 minutes left, and before I give Misty a chance to ask another question or two, I want to just touch on your new film before I forget, Mid-Range. You want to talk about the new film, what fans can expect? You want to promote it a little bit?
Yeah, as far as talking about Mid-Range, the movie?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the film that we did in Chicago about 3 years ago. And actually, it's funny because the guy that plays my Jason Fields, he's the actor and he also directed it. His first time project that he directed. That's something that we hashed out that idea years ago when we first moved to LA, when we were roommates together. And we had this idea about these brothers that played basketball, and ironically enough, Jason and I spent half of our lives on the basketball court. And everyone kind of thought we were brothers, but just an idea that we kind of had brainstormed out, and it was 2 brothers. One was kind of going down a dark path, one was trying to go down a better path, and their obstacles. And then him and I kind of lost touch for a number of years, and he looked me up years later, and he's like, hey, man, how you been? I'm like, I've been great. I'm like, what you been up to? He's like, well, I moved to San Diego. I ended up finishing our movie. I wrote the whole movie, and I went out over the last couple of years. He's like, and I got financing all set up. He's like, I hope you're ready to go shoot this movie. We leave in 3 months to go to Chicago. And I'm like sitting there with my jaw open. I was like, you're kidding, right? He's like, no. He's like, I'm serious. So I went out and I raised $600,000 to make this movie. And I was just absolutely blown away. So that's how it kind of came about. And then, of course, we went out and shot the movie for 6 weeks in Chicago in the middle of the summer. And let me tell you, continuity was a challenge because Chicago weather in the summertime is unbelievable. It could be sunny 1 minute and thunderstorming and raining, an hour later, and it was very challenging. But man, it's beautiful for cinematography, and kind of the gist of the story is it's 2 brothers, kind of grew up real close, tight-knit family, Chicago family out in the suburbs. The younger brother, they were raised Catholic, and the younger brother is going to a Christian college, and him and his older brother have drifted apart a little bit. I play the older brother that's kind of gone down the dark path. I have a young son out of wedlock that I'm raising on my own, and I'm kind of just gone down a dark path, and my brother and I are at odds because of that, and he's kind of becoming a Christian, and I think that Christians are. My character thinks that Christians are Bible beaters, and we were raised Catholic, and we're at odds because of that, and so it's kind of a sibling rivalry movie, with a Christian theme and also a sports theme. We've got some NBA players in the movie. So a lot of the movie revolves around basketball and his journey to try and get into the NBA. And I end up getting into a lot of trouble and end up going to prison for about a year because I get caught with some drugs on me. And he raises my son, and then I get out of jail. And there's some incredibly heartfelt scenes at the end of this movie when my character actually kind of goes down that path with him of finding God, and it's a kind of a really good all-around movie for the whole family. Any age can see it and take something away from it, and I felt like the performances were really solid, and the message and the story are really good. So we're hoping to get that thing out in theaters sometime in the next 6 months. It's looking good, so we'll see.
Nice, John. Nice. That's awesome. When it comes out, I'd love to have you. I'd love to have you back before that, but I'd love to have you back, during that time too, so you can talk about it more. We can talk about the reactions that you had and all that good stuff. So thank you very much for sharing that. I was just curious. Absolutely. Speak about so many other roles that you took part in, but I can only talk about so much. So I kind of had to pick and choose what I was going to talk about tonight.
Absolutely.
Misty, are you still there?
Yes, of course.
All right. Of course. Do you have a last question for Sean that you'd like to ask?
Well, I have more of a comment because his name intrigued me when I found out your name was Sean Douglas. And, of course, Caroline Brady's husband was Sean Douglas, and then there's Sean Douglas Brady. Was your mother a fan of the show from back then, or did she just name you that?
No, it's just a total coincidence. I don't think my mom's never watched Days until I got on it, and ironically enough, she became absolutely consumed with Days of Our Lives. It was kind of funny because I'd go over to see her, and she'd be watching it, and she wouldn't even want to talk to me. I'd be like, "Mom, I'm not on today," and she's like, "Oh, okay, I don't care. Like Dan's on or whoever's on," and I'd be like, "Wow, okay, I thought you were watching the show to see me, and apparently you want to see everybody." So. Yeah, she got a new job since then, so she hasn't been able to watch it. But so no, that was just coincidence.
I think it's awesome because I was like, "What? His name is not Sean Douglas. Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, there's a slight different spelling, right?
Yeah, I think he's more of SHAWN. I think it was.
Yeah. And ironically, it was he was Hope's son, right, or something like that.
Yeah, Sean Douglas Brady was Hope's son, but then also Caroline, Beau's father, was also Sean Douglas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so they've had two characters on the show named Sean Douglas.
Yeah, they named him after his grandfather.
His
grandfather.
Gotcha.
His grandfather, but really Victor is. But we won't get into that.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Show another time. Yeah. Sean, I'd like to first off, we covered a lot of ground tonight in this short period of time. This short hour that we had with you, and I want to thank you very much for what we talked about when we discussed a lot of the actors leaving. And I think that's just, it's a very crucial time for a lot of the fans. This is a big change for a lot of us, you leaving and, Chandler and everyone else. So we're hoping that you return along with everyone else. And very exciting time for you with your new movies coming out at some point and everything that's going to be coming forward to you. So we're very excited for you because we know that the doors are opening. And so you have more and more doors opening and more opportunities. So here at Gabtown Divas, I want to wish you just the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
so much for having me. You guys are amazing, and like you said, I think it's a very strong possibility for Vargas to return. I think right now maybe Days is trying to figure out how and when and what to do with the character. So I think the more you guys keep tweeting and giving them your ideas and your thoughts, because I know it's been pretty crazy the last couple of weeks with the fan feedback. I'm sure someone must pay attention there to that stuff for days. I mean, they'd be crazy not to, So if you guys keep it up, man, I mean, hopefully there's a good chance I will be back.
Awesome, and I'm glad that we were able to do it tonight after last Monday and the whole fiasco that happened over there. So this worked much better, I think.
Yeah, I think so too, definitely.
Yeah. And do you want to say goodbye to Sean before we let him go enjoy his evening?
Yes, thank you so much for coming on here tonight. I was very excited as a fan, and just of Travis's show. I love the thing that he does by getting the stars on his show. So I was very happy to be a part of tonight's show, and I really appreciate it. And you gave us a lot more information than I thought we would get, and it's been fantastic. You're great. And
it's amazing how fast the hour goes, isn't it?
I know, it is. It is. But I'm also hoping that Vargas returns, and at least I didn't kill him off, so there's always hope that he's going to come back. So, but yes, I'll definitely keep tweeting to NBC, and hopefully they can figure out what to do with the character, and we'll see you again soon.
Sounds good. Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. I love you guys and love all the Days fans. You guys are absolutely amazing, okay?
We love you too, Sean, and we wish you only the best. Talk to you via Twitter.
All right. We'll see you on Twitter, guys. Okay. Talk to you soon.
All right.
You too.
Goodbye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Miss you, don't hang up yet.
Okay.
Okay. All right. First off, this was another great show. I got tongue-tied at the beginning, and then I got out of the tongue-tiedness, but thank you, Missy, for hanging in there with me. I was like, oh, my God, what's going on? I missed my part on what I wanted to say in the introduction. So, anywho, that's behind us now. But what a great guest. He shared so much. Oh, my gosh.
He was amazing.
And I just couldn't get enough. And I was like, I had another 7 questions that I could have asked, and I didn't even touch on half the stuff I wanted to talk about because he was just so interesting. And when he talked about the cast and the actors leaving, I was like, okay, I cannot be quiet about this. I need to talk about this right now. So that was really cool. So, Misty, I want to, first off, very much, again, for being my guest co-host tonight. I've always wanted you to be a part of Gadtown Divas, and tonight you got a chance to be. And I think that you were a fabulous fit, so I appreciate it so much. You fit right in, and you were just awesome. So, first off, thank you so much for that.
Thank you. I was so excited, and I hope I didn't sound too nervous because I was freaking out, my heart was pounding, but I think that I was able to push right on through. I mean, it was amazing. As a city guest, I was grateful to be able to be on your show with the Days guest. So I was very excited. Thank you so much.
Don't worry about it. You're very welcome. I mean, it's an honor for me to be able to talk to these stars, and then to have a co-host that I can bounce back the interview with is an honor for me. It's a very humbling experience. So thank you so much for that. And I want to take this time for everyone that's in the chat room, anyone that's listening to the show per download, whether it's right now, a day or two after the show, a week or two after the show. Misty and Brandon. Brandon was the one that had co-hosted with me on the show Stafford interview. They run their own show, which has been hitting the Blog Talk Radio airwaves, and they're also part of the Air Nation network that I'm a part of. It's a big network, and Dawn, who runs the studio for us and the chat room, she's the one that for us. And then we have Misty Brandon here as well. And I want to take the time tonight to have Misty talk to you about Common Ground Radio, and where you guys can catch them on Twitter, the time and date and everything else. So, Missy, this is your time. I want you to talk about your show because I think that you guys are just awesome. You guys are doing so well. So,
thank you. Yes. Yes, Brandon is host and I'm co-host. It's Common Ground Radio. We're on Sunday nights, 7 Eastern. We try to keep it within an hour, but sometimes we go over a little bit. But we talk about the previous week in Salem, and we do spoilers, and we do comings and goings, and we give our own little twist and opinions about the show when we're giving the reviews of the week before. You can follow us on Facebook. Just search Common Ground Radio. We're also on Twitter The handle is at CG Online Radio. Brandon, you can follow him at DaysAddict on Twitter, and I'm also at Misty_Ham on Twitter. So we would love to hear from you guys. Feel free to call in any Sunday. We also take fan calls and to get your opinion on the show and what you thought of the week. And if you don't want to call in, then join us in the chat room.
Awesome. And you have a show this Sunday, right?
Yes, we do this Sunday, 7 Eastern Time. And it should be every Sunday, unless if something happens, we'll let everybody know. But we should be every Sunday at 7 Eastern.
And this past Sunday, just so you fans know, if you want to listen to the past link, just find them on Common Ground Radio on Facebook. But they talked about Chandler Massey leaving. So that's a huge thing. I didn't get to listen to it yet. I still have to listen to it, but you all have to catch it and listen to it. I guess it was a great show, so as always.
Yeah, sometimes we like to do the week in Salem, but then there's sometimes where we do want to do special episodes where we talk about the cast members or what's going on with the actors and different fan bases. Like we did a show before we joined Air Nation with just the different fan bases, like the E-Jammy and the Wilson and the Danifers and the Darlanas, or however you want us to call them. So every so often we'll do special episodes that's a little bit different than the normal. But typically we just talk about the past week and days and get the thoughts of the fans and what they think's coming up and what they would like to see and all that fun stuff. So it's really fun.
Yeah, and you guys do it well. You guys do it well. So thank you very much for sharing that. And I want to thank all the listeners, all the new listeners. Thank you so much for joining. If you want to find me, I'm Gabtown Diva Host on Twitter and at Gabtown Divas on Twitter as well. So there's 2 Twitters. On Facebook, you can find us at Gabtown Divas. And you can also check out my Daysville Live page, Days Rainbow Connection, on Facebook. I hope you guys have a fantastic evening. It's been a pleasure. Misty, thank you again for co-hosting. And keep on looking for our next show. We'll be posting on Twitter or Facebook whenever it comes about. We're just working on a few names right now. And you all have a fantastic evening. Thank you again, Misty.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
You're welcome. This is Gabtown Divas and Travis and Misty signing out. Good night, guys.
You've been listening to Gabtown Divas with host Travis Nadeau on the Air Nation Radio Network. Thank you for joining us.